Good morning, children. Welcome back to your English class. Here is your English teacher, Jyothimol. Hope you all are doing well. Children, today I am not at all happy with you. Do you know the reason? Many of you didn't submit the notes. Almost 34 students didn't submit the notes that I gave you in the last class. Children, do your work regularly. So today itself send the notes. I was surprised to see many girls in the list. What happened to you? I hope you will send the notes today itself. Okay, so let's move ahead. Today I am going to deal with the last three stanzas of our poem, Wind. So before getting into the lesson, let me give you the summary of the portion that I taught you in the last class. So here is our poem. Wind, come softly. Don't break the shutters of the windows. Don't scatter the papers. Don't throw down the books on the shelf. There, look what you did. You threw them all down. You tore the pages of the books. You brought rain again. You are very clever at poking fun at weaklings. Frail, crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling wood, crumbling bodies, crumbling lives, crumbling hearts. Okay, children. So the first part of the poem describes the action of the wind. The poet, do you remember the name of a poet? Yes, Subramanya Bharatiya. So the poet asked the wind to come softly. The poet asked the wind to come softly. He requests not to break the shutters of the windows, not to scatter the papers and throw down the books from the shelf. But the wind throws them all down and tears the pages also. Then what did he do, children? He crumbles houses, crumbles doors, crumbles rafters, crumbles wood, crumbles bodies, crumbles lives, and crumbles the hearts of the people. Okay, I hope you understood the portion. So let's move to the next portion, the new portion. The wind god winnows and crushes them all. He won't do what you tell him. The wind god winnows and crushes them all. He won't do what you tell him. So here the poet says that the wind is wind god. The poet is addressing wind as wind god. He says that the powerful god of wind winnows. Winnows means separates. Winnows means separates grain from husk by blowing on it. So here the poet is addressing wind as wind god and saying that the powerful god of wind winnows. Winnows means separates grain from husk by blowing on it. Here is the picture, children. Winnows. So I hope you understood the meaning. Winnows means separates grain from husk by blowing on it. So let's see what does the poet say the wind god winnows. Here the poet tries to convey that wind god separates the weak things from strong ones. Everything that is weak is tossed by the powerful wind and gets destroyed. So just like a winnower separates grains of rice or wheat from the chaff, the wind god separates the weak from the strong. So here the poet assures that he, the wind god, won't do what you tell him. He won't do what you tell him. The wind god won't listen us. He won't listen our requests. Hope you understood the two lines, children. The wind god winnows and crushes them all. He won't do what you tell him. Once again, children, here the poet is addressing wind as wind god and saying that the powerful god of wind winnows. Here, the poet tries to convey that the wind god separates weak things from the strong ones. Everything that is weak is tossed or is crushed by the powerful wind and gets destroyed. So, the poet assures that the wind god won't listen us. The wind god won't listen our requests. Okay, children. So, let's move on to the next stanza. So come, let's build strong homes. Let's join the doors firmly. Practice to firm the body. Make the heart steadfast. Do this and the wind will be friends with us. Once again. So come, let's build strong homes. Let's join the doors firmly. Practice to firm the body. Make the heart steadfast. Do this and the wind will be friends with us. So here the poet says, come, let's build strong homes and close the doors of our houses firmly. He also says, we human beings, make our bodies strong, hearts steadfast. Steadfast means firm. For what, children? To face the challenges of life. So here the poet asks us to build strong homes, join the doors firmly, practice to firm the body, make the heart steadfast. For what? To face the challenges of life. So once we are strong enough, all the challenges will be our friends. So here the poet symbolizes wind as the adversities or as the challenges of our lives. Here the poet symbolizes wind as the adversities or as the challenges of our lives. So when we become strong and steadfast, all the challenges will be like our friends. So when we do this, the wind will be friends with us. Okay. So when we become strong and steadfast, all the challenges will be like our friends. We will not feel that they are troublesome. So by these 5 lines, the poet tries to give us a beautiful message. Do you understand that, children? Yes, problems won't listen us. So we should be prepared to face the problems and challenges of our lives. Problems won't listen us. So we should be prepared to face the problems and challenges of our life. So the problems will be our friends, or then the problems will be our friends. I hope you understood the stanza. Okay, children, let's move on to the last stanza. The wind blows out weak fires. He makes strong fires roar and flourish. His friendship is good. We praise him every day. So here, the wind blows out weak fires. The wind blows out weak fires. Blows out, be extinguished by an air current. The wind blows out weak fires. That means, if the fire is weak, the wind blows it out. Then if it is strong enough, he makes it roar and flourish. Flourish means grow. So if the fire is strong, he makes it roar and flourish. He makes the wind stronger. If the wind is stronger, he makes that fire stronger. If the wind is strong enough, or if it is strong enough, he makes it roar and flourish. He makes the fire stronger. Not he makes the wind. The wind makes the strong fire stronger. His friendship is good. We praise him every day. So, his friendship is good. The poet says, his friendship is good enough for us. Whose friendship is good enough for us? Wind's friendship is good enough for us. And then we will be happy because these challenges help us to become stronger and better. So we should praise him every day to make ourselves physically and mentally strong to face these challenges. So once again children, his friendship is good. We praise him every day. Whose friendship is good? Win's friendship is good enough for us. Then we will be happy and the challenges keep us to become stronger and better. So we should praise him every day to make ourselves physically and mentally strong to face these challenges. I think the poem is clear to you. Now I am going to discuss the literary devices used in the poem. First of all, let's see whether the poem has any rhyme scheme. So children, just have a look at the words of each line. The last words of each line, children: softly, windows, papers, shelf, down, books, again, weaklings, etc., etc., etc. Have you seen any rhyming pairs there? No. Okay, you are right. So we can say the entire poem is written in free verse. What do you mean by free verse? There is no rhyme scheme in the poem. The entire poem is written in free verse. There is no rhyme scheme in the poem. Next, I am going to say about the 5 important literary devices used in the poem. Okay, the first one is anaphora. Have you seen the word, children? Anaphora. I am going to spell the word A-N-A-P-H-O-R-A. Anaphora. So, what do you mean by anaphora? When a word is repeated at the start of 2 or more consecutive lines. When a word is repeated at the beginning of 2 or more consecutive lines, it is the device of anaphora. So let's see the first portion. Listen. Don't break the shutters of the windows. Don't scatter the papers. Don't throw down the books on the shelf. Have you seen the 3 lines, children? Okay, so the 3 lines, the first word is don't. The word don't is repeated. Don't break the shutters, don't scatter the papers, don't throw down. So here lines 2, 3 and 4. Second line, third line and the fourth line begins with the same word don't. So did you get the device, children? Then one more example is there. 6th, 7th and 8th line. You tore the pages of the books. You brought rain again. You are very clever at poking fun at weaklings. So here also we can see the literary device anaphora. The word you is repeated. Okay. So let's see the next one. So here is it, children. When a word is repeated at the start or when a word is repeated at the beginning of 2 or more consecutive lines, it is the device of anaphora. Examples: second line, third line and fourth line begin with don't, and again 6th line, 7th line and 8th line begin with you. So this is what is the literary device anaphora. Second one, personification. Here, wind has been personified. Wind has been personified. Then what do you mean by personification? When the poet says you are, when the poet says he, when the poet says his, when the poet says you are, the poet is referring to wind as you. That means he is treating wind as a person. He is treating wind as a person. So many lines are there in the poem, children. You are very clever. You are very clever. He won't do what you tell him. His friendship is good. So many examples are there in the poem. So here the wind has been personified. The poet addresses wind as you, he and his. So here the poet is treating wind as a person. So we can say the literary device personification is used in the poem. Clear, children? The third one is repetition. As you know, the second stanza that I taught you, the word crumbling is repeated many times. Just have a look at it. Frail crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters, crumbling wood, crumbling bodies, crumbling lies, crumbling hearts. So the word crumbling is repeated. For what purpose? The word crumbling is repeated many times to lay emphasis, to give stress. The poet wants to say that the wind crushes, the wind crumbles everything that is weak. That's why he repeats the word crumbling. So, the literary device, a repetition is used in the poem. The word crumbling is an example. Next one, alliteration. The repetition of a consonant sound in close connection. The repetition of a consonant sound. You know what is a consonant sound and a vowel sound. So, the repetition of a consonant sound in close connection. Wind, winnows. Worn, what? I'll give you. See, here is the example, children. The wind god winnows and crushes them all. He won't do what you tell him. The word wind and winnows, consonant sounds, are repeated or they are in close connection. Another example in the second line, won what? Won what? Which consonant sound is repeated there, children? W. The consonant sound W or the consonant sound W and the letter W is repeated there. Okay, so that is what is alliteration. So once again, the repetition of a consonant sound in close connection, that is what is alliteration. And the last literary device used in the poem is symbolism. Symbolism means that the thing refers to some other thing. The thing refers to some other thing. For example, here wind is a symbol. Here the poet symbolizes wind. It refers to the challenges in life. Wind refers to the challenges in life. He is using wind as a symbol for the adversities in our lives. He uses wind as a symbol for the adversities in our lives. So that is what is symbolism. Symbolism means that the thing refers to some other thing. Here, wind refers to the challenges of our lives. Here, the poet is using wind as a symbol for the adversities in our lives. Okay, children. These are the important literary devices used in the poem. So let's wind up the lesson by giving you the message of the poem. The message conveyed through the poem Wind is that we should never give up when there are obstacles and hardships in life. We should face those obstacles with a strong willpower, like a poet befriends the wind so that it could not harm the poet in any way. The strong message conveyed by the poet is that we should look forward or we should look towards the brighter side of life. We should look towards the positive side of life and we should change our problems into weapons. So that's the message of the poem, children. The poet gives a beautiful message through the poem Wind. I hope you understood the poem, children. So children, don't forget today itself. Those who didn't submit last day's notes, send it today itself. Others, complete the notes. And before the next class, that is what is before Friday, you have to send the notes, the whole notes of the poem Wind in Google Classroom. Thank you.